this is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today making the bracelet from pattern number 3. I have doubled it, which made it, I didn't just double it, because if you just double it, it would be the X and X would be like right next to each other, right? And I wanted to make it better. I wanted to make it interesting. And so went to the trouble of trying to set the pattern to where they would be offset. So it would be X's and O's on every single row. And it worked. It worked out actually really super well. It's really hard to get segment knotting on it. In fact, I don't think I really managed to do segment knotting really well at all. What I did manage to do though was to find ways of sticking to one area at a time, so that way I didn't run into problems making mistakes, because that's about the best I could hope for with this one, which is almost sounding like it's really super difficult. It's a bit difficult, at least to start with, and then after a while I kind of got used to some of the stuff. It's particularly harder in the middle, because on the sides you've got the other colors. You can kind of see where they're going and what's going to happen, and when something, you know, you've got markers. You can say, okay, so the black comes down until the greenish color ends. Mind you, I'm not sure this really looks that green on the screen. Over here it kind of looks like a yellowish, but they're both fluorescent colors. Both the orange and the green are super crazy glow in the black light kind of thing, and then that with a black just makes the colors just seem so much brighter. It's so cool. But yeah, like the red one came down until it gets to the light color, and then the black one's in the corner, and then like that part kind of makes a lot of sense. It's trying to figure out where you are in the middle of it, that suddenly you're like, wait, is it what, you know? And yeah, that kind of hung me up a couple times. You'll probably even see me kind of stop and pause here and there to try to figure out like what was happening. So yeah, having the pattern at hand definitely came in handy. Like that was really good, because otherwise I probably would have really gotten lost. That said though, it's a really fun design. It really, once you kind of get going and once you kind of work out your own rhythm to it, it really is rather fun to make. That said, I still made one mistake. I miscounted when I was counting how many X's were supposed to be in the whole thing. Like I started with what on the right hand side, right? And I counted it, and I miscounted and had the thing braided off and everything before realizing my mistake. I miscounted and ended up with a shorter bracelet. So that was a little bit of a bummer. After going to all the work of figuring out how long it should be and having a whole working pattern, to miscount and then end up with a shorter one is kind of disappointing. I am, you know, it is what it is. And it's partially because I'm, you know, while I'm making it, I'm recording, and I don't want to undo the clip and pull it out and count and recount. That's, yeah. And I think we've talked about me like having that issue before. But yeah, that's what happened. And so it's a shorter bracelet. Mind you, I am contemplating the possibility of making it again, but with some other colors. I was thinking like maybe a white background with like red and blue X's and O's. I don't know. I don't know. It also feels like, because it's a double of a pattern, right? The background can kind of go to whichever side, it doesn't matter. But the yellow and in this case the green and the orange stay in one row. They don't go venturing over to the other side. So if you wanted to, let's say you do a white background, you could put the O on the right hand side, you could make that red, and then you could make the blue X, and on the other side you reverse those, right? So you have a red X, and so like each stripe, each going across could be like red, blue, or you could go with, you know, completely different colors. So maybe one side's red and blue and the other side is purple and yellow or whatever. It doesn't matter. So you could fit a lot more colors going into it than just 3. And I have to admit, I am really kind of tempted in trying something like that just for the sake of doing it. Plus, give me a chance to redeem myself with the length of it, because yeah, it's kind of a bummer. So I don't know. You have a combination that you think would be the absolute to die for combination. Let me know what you think it is, and we'll see if I can make it. I have no idea why. There is something in here tickling my nose today, and I'm hating it. Every once in a while, like there's just like an allergy to something, and yeah. So I'm sorry if I'm like clawing at my face a lot. It's just I'm going insane over here. So difficulty wise, this bracelet is definitely intermediate. Possibly, so I want to say it's almost advanced. It is pretty tricky to kind of get going, but I did make attempts on simplifying things, like not having the outside edge stay black the whole time. Let the colors come out and come back in. It spaces it out easier. It does make it a lot simpler to do. And I don't, you know, you always see like on the patterns, you see like it's like a little blot of color or something on the edges. When you do your knots nice and firm, you don't get that. So I don't know why they bother on the pattern showing that, because it doesn't really show up. I don't know, doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, there's no need to try to make it this thing more difficult than it already was. So yeah, my pattern and the original definitely differ, even though not just because it's twice as wide, but I just like to make things easier for myself. And hopefully you enjoy that too. Hopefully you guys are like looking at these patterns and going, heck yeah, you know, a little bit easier, you know, yay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is almost the middle of the whole thing, so I might as well thank my patrons, subscribers, and my YouTube members for making this possible. Surprisingly, I have a lot of string, but these patterns where I'm having to use like 4 and 5 skeins of the same color are gonna run me into some trouble here, and so I need to get more string, and I haven't quite figured out like how to best approach this so that way I can make the most of everything I've got. Otherwise, you're gonna see a bunch of patterns coming out where it's like this, but like I don't know, like let's see if it's 8 different colors for a bracelet this size. Yeah, you kind of don't get a lot of variety when you're trying to make each string's different colors. It just is how it is. I get worse if I make this same size bracelet out of 16 colors. That really kind of limits what can happen. You either end up with like the fancier kind of candy stripes. You can end up with a really weird looking arrowhead because the colors on the other side wouldn't be nice. That's why if you do 8 colors, you could do arrowheads. 16 colors, it's fancy candy. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much of this is just trying to figure out where I am and then do the things. It's kind of hilarious, really. And yeah, it's obviously like that wasn't optimized for doing segments at all. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it still turns out really super cool. You don't need to have fluorescent floss to make that super cool. I wonder, is this the flashlight? I wonder if you can see how, see, it just lights up amazing. Yeah, I have a black light flashlight. It helps when you're trying to figure out which colors will do it, the thing, in case that you're trying to actually make that. Which I don't probably do it that often, but I do like, you know, bracelets that light up like that. I probably don't do it that often just because I don't have a ton of that string. I don't know. I could always get more string, I guess. It's a limited, there's like what, the orange, the green, there's a purple that doesn't light up nearly as much as either of those two, and something else, I think. So yeah, it would be really limiting to try to just make a lot of stuff out of it there, because there's just not a lot of colors. Oh, and then there's white works. Doesn't come with the fluorescent when you purchase it, but I can get that easy. Yeah. Oh, and there might be adding charms coming to bracelets soon. We'll find out in the next few days. There has been a guy who's interested in my work and had me do a couple examples. So I put together some bracelets that have a bead on them, you know, centered on it. And if that deal goes through, I might be making a lot of bracelets for him. And if that's the case, I'm going to try to do it in lots of different patterns. You know, it'll just be adding, it'll be the whatever patterns we're creating, and then the embellishment as well. So yeah, if you haven't already seen how to add an embellishment, there'll be a possibility of that happening a lot, because I don't think I could physically make and fulfill the order and keep making videos for you guys unless I combine the two things together. So things might get real interesting real quick, because yeah, I'm just a guy. I make bracelets. If I have to make a lot, yeah, I don't know how that would go. It's a little frightening if you can't tell by my tone. I'm really very unsure, but it's okay. It'll be fun. Make new things. Yep, see, there I am trying to count it out, figure out where I am. Like I said, that happened a bunch, and I still got it wrong. Don't ask me how. I honestly, I don't know how I did it. Still, for a smaller person, somebody's gonna win and have a really cool bracelet. It's just for somebody with a smaller wrist. Yeah, get the center of it. This was perhaps where I felt the most confused. The sides were fine. Oh, it definitely uses the black string more than it uses anything else. So if you're trying to cut corners and not use nice long strings, yeah, worry more about the black than the other colors, because it just works that way. It uses a lot more. But yeah, I cut my string in thirds. I had no trouble with the lengths at all. That was fine. The only thing about it was trying to make sure that I had the colors like that change direction at the right time, you know, so that way things ended up where they're supposed to be. But other than that, yeah, it was smooth sailing. It was fun. I have to say, I really actually enjoyed making this. And because I didn't actually do the whole length, I can't tell you how long it would have taken. I know that this part here took about 70, almost 70 minutes. Like an hour and 10. So yeah, I was probably on track for the 80, right around there. But having left out a whole segment, I don't know. Yeah. Although I have to say, I really think for even having made a mistake, I still say it turned out pretty neat. And yeah, you can see over there on the left, I've already like put a stop to where it is. You can see the colors are coming out. Because it starts and ends a little bit different than what's in the middle part. So like if I was going to try to have corrected it before I did the braids and cutting it off, I would have had to back out a whole lot of knots, I think. So yeah, it just kind of ended about how it did. I don't know. I am, like I said, tempted in making it again, and I can visually picture doing some other things to it. So the question is, do I do it with 2 colors or 4? Well, 3. Do I do it with 5 colors or whatever? I mean, I don't know. Kind of like the prospects of challenging myself. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, share them in the comments or leave me a message or something. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.